work up, as far as I knew, just a number. I'm not sure how they, that's what the meeting was gonna be about, what they were proposing.
I mean, we have an NK figure for next year.
Right,
I think we
okay.
should meet with Narragansett, and then, and before we even try to talk about timetable, but certainly you can, BJ, but to my mind, until we have that information, you really aren't talking about now, let's compare apples and oranges and oranges.
Some big distinctions, though, that they had said that would be in their number that wasn't in North Kingstown was the busing cost.
Right.
Which isn't in the North Kingstown number.
Right, although did you notice there was a little discrepancy in how they presented that? Like the superintendent presented that as busing is included,
Right.
and then the school committee person said busing will be at a reasonable cost.
Right.
So in other
Which
words,
is
we can't really
exactly the way I
compare
figure
until
it is included, I sort of figure it's.
It's included.
It's
I
at
think
no
where
extra
we
cost,
can
but-
get a clearer sense, I mean, you know, to be honest, what I'm gonna bring up is the idea of having North Kingstown make their presentation to us. But what I think the bigger thing is, I'd like to expedite this, because from my perspective, with constituents emailing me and calling me saying, you know, what are you thinking about taking them to North Kingstown? I've responded with, we're doing our job. We're doing our due diligence, and a request has been given, and we're taking it seriously from Narragansett, and we're looking at all the numbers. Well, you know, the high school review committee said there's no compelling reason to change, and I said, and that's a big chunk of information that we're certainly going to take into account. And one person said, why don't you have North Kingstown come make their pitch like Narragansett did? And to be honest, it's, I think, based on some of the enthusiasm, at least, presented by the Narragansett committee and administration, it may behoove us to talk to folks from the North Kingstown School Committee and administration and have them make their pitch. And we're talking about a lot of money. Okay, you're not allowed to comment on yourself.
Look at the NK resident there.
But I mean, I think that to be fair to all sides, to be fair to the students, especially to the students, children, I think it would be wise for us to have a similar type meeting.
I'm gonna ask our NK liaison's opinion on this.
I don't know, I guess I have a slight problem with the concept of a pitch. I mean, I was happy to have Narragansett School Committee come here and describe, you know, some of what they thought wasn't in the report. But I don't kind of like the idea of having it seem as though it's a sales job and we're trying to be, the school committee to school committee is you know, weighing sales pitches somehow. That just feels a little wrong, because I think the decision ought to be made certainly with input from our parents and our taxpayers and our administration and the high school review committee and the school committee, asking the North Kingstown School Committee to come and sort of justify. If we had students from North Kingstown who had been attending the school for 25 years, and then we were asked to go, you know, try to sell North Kingstown on our school, I would think, well, they've been coming here. What do they want us to say? It's like asking us to justify the relationship that existed that the high school review committee has already said is serving our students.
And it was 25 years when we renegotiated that first time.
Yeah,
so
it's been longer than that,
34,
yeah.
33 years.
I guess I'm just not sure exactly what we would expect them to say or do to provide useful input, other than making us feel better, like they're showing us that they want to. They already want us and have us, and have enjoyed. We've gotten a very clear message from their school administration that they are very appreciative of the contributions our students make to their school. So I don't know. I have some qualms about the idea of asking them to come make a pitch. It doesn't seem quite appropriate, and if the committee does decide to go that way and request that their school committee come It's 7 people. They have so many meetings because they have trouble getting through their agendas, so they have on more than one occasion had to schedule extra meetings. So I would want to have a really clear idea of what exactly we were going to ask and what we wanted them to provide to us, other than coming over the bridge and sitting here for our satisfaction.
Can I add a question on that?
Yeah.
So one thing that I heard very clearly that goes into the decision is the political relationships between the districts and, you know, the
Yeah.
administration, the school
That's
committees. So from my perspective, and maybe the right answer isn't having them cross the bridge and sit here, but from my perspective, I'm interested in the relationship there and what that looks like, and particularly since there's been some political issues and some staff turnover and administration changes, that would be what I would look for.
Yeah.
And it could be as simple as, you know, I commit to go watching some of their school committee meetings, you know, because I'm completely clueless as to what the tenor is of their.
They do televise them.
They do televise them, yeah, well, there you go.
Julian.
And I respect your opinion, Julia, that as the high school liaison, I mean, you're gonna be as familiar with anybody.
Yeah.
But my concern is that you are, and I trust you, and I trust your opinion, but I'm wondering if it wouldn't behoove people of Jamestown, who are gonna be spending a lot of money to send their kids to a high school, and especially those parents and or taxpayers who don't have kids, but especially the people who have parents who, or the parents who have kids who are not in high school yet,
Yeah.
and who may be unfamiliar with North Kingstown, even though we live here and so forth. And I would cite that's one of the rationales, in deference to the taxpayers, to let them come in, and if they want to toot North Kingstown as foreign, that's fine. But I think there's a level of fairness, and I don't think it's not a dog and pony show. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that people of Jamestown who don't go to North Kingstown to the meetings like you do have an opportunity to hear that. And Dana brings up an excellent point too, in terms of the political turmoil that has existed there and the change that has been. That's an issue for me. Just last night, you know, there's a hearing about, you know, the former principal and so forth. Good guy, know him personally, you know, part of the Rotary Club my wife's a part of. Jerry's a good guy. He's no longer principal. Jim Halley's no longer superintendent. You know, we can go kind of down the list of some of the issues. What's going on? And so maybe it would be helpful, for me anyway, and perhaps for some of the taxpayers. And it doesn't have, you know, I understand all 7 might not make it. All 7 might say, forget it, we're not coming at all. But wouldn't that be telling to some extent? How much money are we sending them to educate our children?
No, it really wouldn't, because
Okay,
it's.
why wouldn't it be telling?
Because it's a different, it's not like Narragansett, which is a small district and a small school committee, and the school committee knows the one middle school and the one high school and the one elementary school, and NK is not that situation.
The committee is much more removed from each individual school.
Very removed, so.
But I could see certainly asking maybe for representation from the committee and the superintendent. I mean, if there were questions, I mean, maybe it's how we characterize it, partly, you know, to come and answer questions from the community. I could see something like that. You know, would you please send representatives from your school committee and the district administration or the high school administration? But right now, that might be a little problematic because they have an interim principal, and I'm not sure exactly. It's for another 30 days anyway that they will have that interim principal, and then I assume the expectation is that Jerry Foley will
Speak up.
Oh, sorry. The expectation after last night is that after the 30-day suspension is completed, that Jerry Foley will be back as principal for the remainder of his contract, which expires at the end of June, I guess. So I don't know exactly who it would make sense. Maybe the director of guidance, Tim Chase. I could certainly see if it's the committee's pleasure to ask North Kingstown to maybe come and answer any questions that our committee has, or we can advertise it so that parents could come and ask questions, or taxpayers, or whoever else wanted to have questions answered. I think requesting that we